You see that vampire peering over.
Oh yeah, creepy.
I love
Just
it.
a furrowed brow, like the furrows under my eyes, like the fucking the valleys and ravines underneath my eyes.
Willow the Wisp, Sue.
Anyway, Sue, welcome back everybody to another episode of Tell Me Where I'm Going Wrong. My name's Josh. This is a podcast where two exes get together each week and talk about things that are on their minds. And the other host is my ex, Sean. Sean, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm a little run down. We often start this podcast by complaining about the crappy English weather.
Yes.
Why is it raining so much? Is it always like this every year?
No, this is an exceptionally wet winter. And this is what some scientists think, or meteorologists, or I don't know, climate experts think that the future of British winters will be like. That it won't really be as cold, but we will just have lots of very, very wet weather. Until the point when the Gulf Stream collapses, and then we'll just be in sort of Siberian-style winters. But then no one knows how long that will be.
Like an ice age.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But are we talking about like thousands of years before that happens?
Nobody knows, because it's no climate model can accurately predict at what point I think it's to do with how much salt is in the oceans, and as the glaciers and ice caps melt, the salinity of the oceans goes down, and at some point that might be enough to tip the Gulf Stream. Is it the Gulf Stream or the jet stream? It's the Gulf Stream, I think, isn't it? It's the Gulf Stream in the ocean, and at some point that will just break down, and then we'll all just be fucked. So anyway,
where do you think if the world started like freezing and then we were having this sort of like catastrophic global event, where would be the best place to go on the planet, or is there just no point in going anywhere?
I don't think anyone knows, because islands are dodgy because of rising sea levels. But you probably would want to be fairly close to an ocean, because the inland. I'm talking as if I know anything, which I don't, but I believe, from what I have pieced together over the years, over the decades,
from your research,
from my research, is that a lot of interior land masses, a lot of landmass interiors, I should say, are likely to experience severe drought. So I think you would want to be in a maritime climate so that you are guaranteed some sort of rainfall or precipitation, but obviously not right on the coast because of rising sea levels. So there's probably like a Goldilocks zone somewhere, but I don't think anyone could really.
What's Goldilocks zone?
You know how in the fairy tale, she goes into the cabin in the woods and there's 3 bowls of porridge, or is it 3 or 4? 4 bowls of porridge. 3 bowls of porridge. One's too cold, one's too hot, and one's just right. So, Goldilocks. You've heard that before. Goldilocks zone?
I know what Goldilocks is, but I don't think I've heard Goldilocks zone or Goldilocks.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about that, but what I have heard about is Lady Gaga. So
it's a lovely segue there, Sean.
I need to clear something up with you. Before we got on the video, before we started recording, I said to you, "Did you watch Lady Gaga at the Grammys?" And you seemed to be very confused about what was going on.
Can I just, sorry to completely go on a tangent here, but can I just say I was at work the other day and we were doing this sort of training session, and a colleague of mine looked at me across the room and they said, "You okay, Josh?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, you look very confused. And I think maybe I've entered my confused era, because I do think I am confused a lot of the time. But yeah, I was confused because I said to you, I didn't even know the Grammys have happened, and I haven't watched Gaga perform.
Yeah.
But I think it appears that actually I have, but I was confused about what the performance was.
Well, I sent you the video to say,
Yeah.
hey, watch this before the podcast so we can have a quick chat about it. And you wrote something back like, oh, that's amazing. So when I said to you before, oh, Gaga at the Grammys, you were like, oh, no, I don't know about that. But just a few days ago, you had said, oh, yeah. So anyway, she performed her global smash hit song, Abracadabra, but she did it in a rock style. And she was wearing a legendary Alexander McQueen outfit. And I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was just such great avant-garde rock and roll. It was like so different from everything else going on in the pop landscape. I really loved it. So what did you think about it now that you know that you watched it?
Well, now that I know I watched it, because I thought I hadn't read the title, I just watched the video, and I thought it was a fantastic performance. As I've said in previous episodes, I would love to see Gaga do a whole concert, sort of like heavy rock style. I think it would be amazing. She's got such a good voice for that. And I thought it was some sort of fashion show performance. I didn't read the caption properly. So anyway, yes, it was an amazing performance.
And she was on stage, I mean, it was all live music. She was playing keyboards, there were guitarists, there was a drummer. But the guitarists playing with her were the two of the producers that have worked on Mayhem with her, Circuit, and what's the other guy's name? Is it Andrew Watt? Is that his? Oh, no, like I'll have to do a little disclaimer apology in the comments like I had to do with Ed O'Neill last week, where I called him Ed O'Brien.
Who was Ed O'Neill?
Ed O'Neill from Married with Children.
Oh, right, okay.
And I referred to him as Ed O'Brien, and you were like, yes, like nodding along as if it was like real.
As if I knew. I was too busy
Ed
thinking
O'Brien
about the Gulfstream.
To be a member of Radiohead, so I don't know, that name must have been in the back of my head somewhere, and it was similar.
It's an easy mistake. You are in your early mid-50s.
Yes, but the drummer on stage with Gaga was John Fries, who is a very, very, I suppose he's not a household name, but he's a very famous musician if you're in that realm of musicians. He does a lot of joins bands for a few years to drum with them or go on tour with them. He plays like a session musician, live and on people's records. I mean, he's worked with like everyone from like Devo and Guns N' Roses to the Foo Fighters. I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens of bands. I mean, on studio albums, he's been on albums with like Kelly Clarkson, Avril Lavigne, Michael Bublé, Good Charlotte. Like, he's a really incredible, accomplished.
He's done it all, Sue.
He really has, and
that's Lemon.
So he was recently working with 9 Inch Nails as well, and I think that's probably how Gaga was drawn to him, because the Mayhem is similar in a lot of ways to some like 9 Inch Nails style rock music with electronica and goth sounding, and she must know him or somehow got involved. But it got me, after I watched that, I went on a real sort of Gaga bender where I was watching all of these old live performances of hers, and I ended up rewatching the Super Bowl performance. Can you believe that Super Bowl performance was about 8 years ago?
Was it her Joanne era? What era was it? It was before Chromatica, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was before Chromatica. It was before A Star Is Born. And as I was watching it, because I mean, this is very timely as well, because it's Saturday night here while we're recording, and tomorrow the Super Bowl is happening and Bad Bunny is performing at the halftime show. But I was watching Gaga, and it was so amazing to me to think that when she did that, do you remember we watched it on TV at Julio and Carlos's house live? That was kind of like, for any artist, and it was for Gaga, like a real pinnacle of her career. And you think of how show-stopping it was that she did all of these, smash hit songs. And in the 8 years since then, it's almost like she could do all that again, not do any of those songs that she did. And she could come back and do like Shallow, Rain on Me, Die with a Smile, Abracadabra. She could do like a whole nother set of career defining songs. And it's just incredible to me that she's had that sort of longevity and that resurgence in her career. Well, it's almost like it's never let up, really. So, yeah, you go. Sorry.
I was just going to say, do you remember or do you know off the top of your head how long ago that Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake performance was?
No idea.
Because we watched that live we
Yes.
were in California, weren't we?
Yeah.
That's probably my most vivid Super Bowl memory.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. It was in the 2000s.
Yeah, noughties, right?
I mean, I know that it was
2005, maybe?
after 9/11, and
Right.
I know that it was don't know how many years after 9/11 it was. I don't know.
I would hazard a guess like 2005.
Maybe.
That would be my guess.
And I can remember we were in that, like an apartment of a friend of your brother's.
Mhm.
It was kind of like in Hollywood sort of
Yeah, it was on
area.
Vine and Sunset. No, not Sunset. Anyway, somewhere on Vine.
Yeah, and it looked
Yeah,
like an old, like, like the sort of apartment block that was in Mulholland Drive.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
like
I
that
think,
sort of
I mean, I know everyone says this in LA, like every place you go, they say this, but like, hadn't Marilyn Monroe lived in one of the apartments?
I
I
don't
bet they
know.
say that in every fucking 2-bit apartment block
Yeah.
in that city, you know?
Yeah, and, I can remember us all being so shocked when, like I mean, I mean, fast forward to now, if something like that happened, who cares? Like, it wouldn't even register, I don't think. It was just but it was so scandalous at the time. I mean, it ruined her career. I mean, she
Yeah,
really
didn't ruin
she
his career,
no,
but
but she was such a huge pop star and R&B
mm,
star, like, really big, one of the biggest stars on the planet, and then
mm,
she couldn't sell records, she couldn't get on the radio. Um,
yeah,
Talking of things that you are not aware of, or you might be aware of,
which is an awful lot.
what do you know about the video game and video game platform called Fortnite?
I've heard the name.
Like, it is so popular, and it just, like, seems to me that you and I live it's not made for us, right? I mean, there are people our age that play it, but do you know when back in the day, like, around the time where Janet's breast was exposed, the world seemed a lot smaller, like, everybody seemed to know everything that was going on. There is so much going on in the world today, like something
Mm,
like Fortnite. If you had to explain Fortnite to somebody, you wouldn't be able to do it convincingly, right? I think there's something like over 600 million registered users of that video game platform, Fortnite.
mm,
600 million registered users. Like, how wild is it to think that something is so what's the word, like, widespread, or something
just
that's
so popular, so commonplace, but
so, something that's
also,
yeah, right, something as big as anything that's ever happened culturally on the planet, and you
mm,
and I have nothing to do with it. Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't have a clue. I mean, what made me bring it up was Chapel Roan is a big fan of it, and she has had her character created within the game, so you can go into the game and play as Chapel Rowan, and
okay.
there's some of her songs in it. Like, they do this thing called the Fortnite Festival. Maybe Gaga's done it in the past as well, and it's just so weird to me that this whole thing exists and it generates billions of dollars, and it's
Mm,
we just have no clue. And even someone like we love, like Chapel Rowan, is so deeply invested in it, and we're just like, I
yeah.
just wouldn't even have a
There's
clue.
just too much stuff in the world these days to fully engage with everything. So you've got to be selective, be objective, be selective, be an asset to the collective. But
What's that?
that's a soul to soul lyric.
Oh, I love
Um,
it.
but hang on, back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Um, Bad Bunny's performing tomorrow, and
Yes.
I don't really know much about Bad Bunny, if anything. I know that he's Puerto Rican. What are your predictions or hopes for the performance tomorrow?
Well, I hope that there is no violence. And I mean, that's almost like such a sad, sort of like the sad world we live in. Like that seems to be the low bar that I set. I hope nothing bad happens.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, what I'd really love is for Janet Jackson to come out and get her breasts out again. That's what I would really like. But
I don't think that's going to happen.
What I think might happen is he might bring out some other Puerto Rican. I'm saying it like that because it's a meme, don't I?
Okay.
And I'm saying it as I say it so often as a joke, Puerto Rican, that I say it in normal conversation.
Okay. For our viewers, can you pronounce it properly?
I'm Puerto Rican, and even then, I'm not even saying it correctly. But I think he'll bring out some other artists from his country, which his country is also the United States of America, but from his region, and maybe some other R&B or like hip hop artists. His album just won Album of the Year at the Grammys.
Did not.
So it was up against, amongst others, Mayhem by Lady Gaga. And he won Album of the Year.
I can't believe anything other than Mayhem would win Album of the Year, but that's not right here.
But it's the first time in the Grammys history that a fully Spanish language album has won Album of the Year, so it was really groundbreaking.
How the fuck?
Yeah, I know, right? But then you think about that, it's what other language gets any representation at like mainstream music awards? Like they don't have like,
well, I know,
like I mean, they're probably now starting to have K-pop categories and stuff. But he Bad Bunny. Just to give you some more backstory on him, he is also a massive Gaga fan, and he has had lots of photos taken of him just like either at concerts or walking around or at basketball games where he's wearing Gaga t-shirts. When Gaga released these Chromatica rain boots, these yellow rain boots, he was wearing them to like this basketball game, and he is like a massive Gaga fan.
Do you think he could bring Gaga out?
That would be awesome, but I don't know if they're really on the same page stylistically at the moment. I know that he appreciates what she does and he's a big fan, but I don't know, it's made it seem a bit tokenistic.
He's been critical of Trump and the current administration in general. Do you think that there's a likelihood he will make a political statement during his performance?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he has said in the past, like, because he is, one of the biggest pop stars on the planet right now. He has said he doesn't want to tour the US because he thinks that the US government or the Department of Homeland Security and ICE will target his fans at his concerts. That they'll just come along and start arresting people. So he doesn't want to tour. But yeah, I mean, I think him even being there is like a form of protest. And there's a lot of MAGA style people who are taking offense at the fact that artist who mainly sings in Spanish is performing at something that is meant to be like in their mind a very sort of red, white, and blue event. And obviously, a lot of people don't even understand that Puerto Rico is part of the US. So, yeah, it's pretty sad. Who else was up for Album of the Year? I can't really remember. I know that Sabrina Carpenter performed at the Grammys, and I think she was nominated for a lot of awards. I don't know if her album was nominated for Best. Do you listen to Sabrina Carpenter's music at all?
I do not.
No.
She
has just been in this special on Disney Plus. It's they've brought back the Muppet Show. So do you remember when we were kids? Like the Muppet Show was like a variety sort of show, and they would have special guest stars, and they would have skits, and Yeah, so they've brought back this episode of The Muppet Show, and she sings on it, and then
just one episode, is that it? Or?
Well, it's one episode, and the people who made it said that if there's a lot of demand for it, if it does well, they're going to relaunch it as a like a regular series with a different special guest, and I love that. But what's surprising to me is like Seth Rogen was also on it, playing himself as a special guest, and Maya Rudolph. But Seth Rogen and Sabrina Carpenter's are listed as executive producers of the special. What does an executive producer do? Like, what is that?
No idea.
Like, in my mind, it's somebody who either helps like wrangle the finance for, they might say, oh, these people are going to put in this money.
Yeah.
And then they might have some sort of creative overview, like helping, like, put people in touch, like directors or like head of lighting or whatever. They know people and they bring them together. And then they obviously get credit, and then they probably make money from it if it makes money. What did the Muppet Show used to get shown in the UK?
Yeah, I grew up watching the Muppet Show.
Who was your favorite Muppet?
I think Oscar the Grouch. No, that's Hang on, that's Sesame Street, isn't it? No, what's Miss Piggy? Miss Piggy.
Oh, I love Miss Piggy.
Yeah, she's like, she was like what? She was like an early incarnation of like a drag queen or something, just like ridiculous makeup, like outrageous behavior.
Do you think that she was modeled on? I think she was modeled on maybe two people. I think she was modeled on Mae West and Dolly Parton.
Really? Okay.
That's where I think. I don't know if that's true, but that's where I get the idea. Because what other sort of buxom, sort of a bit tawdry looking people? That's who I think that they might have got that from.
Yeah, and possibly.
At the Sabrina Carpenter tour that she just did, I don't know, for the last 2 years, at one part of her show, she would bring somebody up on stage, or is somebody in the crowd, she would arrest them with like sexy, kinky handcuffs. It would be this gimmick she did. And I don't know, one night it was like a famous singer, another night it was a local, I don't know, maybe the mayor or whatever. Every city it was someone different, and they'd put the spotlight on them. And on the final night of the tour last year, I think it was in November, she arrested Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy was in the front row of the crowd.
Yeah, but how does that work?
What do you mean?
Like, how's that? How can this? How can this happen? How can Miss Piggy just be in the crowd when she's a puppet?
Well, they obviously had it set up that her operator could be under like a black curtain or something, and
all right.
And Sabrina Carpenter went down and arrested Miss Piggy.
There's that video. I don't know if I can bring it up on the podcast, but there's a video of. It's like an outtake from the film 9 to 5, and it's Dolly talking to. Now, hang on, who's she talking to? Is it Lily? No, maybe it's Jane. Maybe she's talking to Jane Fonda, and it's just this little outtake. And it's a really crude joke, and I'm a bit reticent to say it on the podcast, but I will. You can Google this. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll find it online, put it in the show notes. And Dolly says to Jane, "Oh, what's green and smells like bacon?" And Jane's like, "I don't know." And she said, "Oh, Kermit's fingers." I mean, it's disgusting.
Are you sure that really happened, or it's not an urban legend?
No. There's video of it, and it doesn't. It's not an AI video. It's been doing the rounds for a long time. I'll put a link in the show notes. It's disgusting. Yeah. It's very crude.
I used to always love Kermit the Frog. I just thought Kermit was just so sweet and lovely. And I used to have a 7-inch vinyl of him singing the Rainbow Connection.
Okay.
I just loved him.
Kermit used to kind of wind me up, though, to be honest.
How could he possibly wind
I
you
don't
on?
know. He was too much, which I know is ironic because Miss Piggy is too much, but Kermit just used to annoy me.
I think, as a kid, all of them were in some way you'd find something to relate to in each of the Muppets. So, Fozzie Bear, was a bit stupid, but like he lovable. Like Animal was wild, and like Miss Piggy was a diva, and I I just loved all of them so much. What was the one that was it Janice in the band? She must have been modeled on somebody like a famous singer from the 70s or something.
You think?
Oh
Maybe.
yeah. Yeah, for
Maybe.
sure. They would have all like Jim Henson and all of them, they would have been all in that whole sort of fucking like Carly Simon vibes and everything all around then, or like for sure. Oh, I loved it. I mean, I don't have Disney Plus, so I haven't actually watched this Muppet thing. I'm just like reading and watching like clips and stuff. I would love to watch it, but I'm not paying for Disney Plus. Like I find
No.
that to be a step too far. Talking of a step too far, I think we need to talk a little bit, as unpleasant as it is, about the Epstein files. What have you been keeping up with the Jeffrey Epstein files?
Well, I know that, was it 200? No, was it 2 million?
3 million.
3 million documents or pages have been released.
Yep.
And I know that there are lots more names. There is lots more evidence which would seem to confirm that Andrew did in fact meet Virginia Giuffre, and that photo of him that he claimed or he suggested might have been doctored was real. I know that various other people like Elon Musk have been named. But I also know that there is still a lot of information that has not been released. And I know that one of the lawyers who represents the survivors, and not just the survivors, but so I lost my train of thought, but has said that she knows, like, for example, Virginia Giuffre submitted evidence or had interviews with the FBI, the contents of which should be included in the Epstein papers, Epstein files, and it's not. So she's saying that proves that there's still information that's not been released, like they've still not released everything, and that I think is it the Attorney General in the US has said that they don't anticipate any charges being brought based upon the release of the files, which is baffling at best.
Oh, I mean, it's unbelievable, and there are some of the most horrific crimes described in detail, even in the documents that have been released. So imagine what is in the stuff that hasn't come out. And of course, with these sorts of things, there's a lot of secondhand information or urban legends or conspiracy theories as well. Like a big thing doing the rounds online at the moment is that Jeffrey Epstein isn't dead, and that there are these photos of somebody in Israel walking around that people swear is Jeffrey Epstein, and that he was secreted away from that prison, and that he is living in Israel.
Okay.
And these things, once they start to get like a little bit of momentum behind them online, they can really become, they really run away with themselves. But what's something that is real, and you're referring to like Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew. A senior aide to him, David Stern, was directly corresponding with Epstein for years after Jeffrey Epstein was first time he was in prison for trafficking minors for sex trafficking, prostitution, and that Andrew was still in contact and seeing. Jeffrey Epstein. And then also, I mean, this is how scandalous and rotten to the core these sorts of people are. Peter Mandelson, who,
Oh
if you
yeah.
don't know, Peter Mandelson is a UK politician and a former member of the Labour Party. And up until last year, he was the UK ambassador, the British ambassador to the US.
Mm-hmm.
And he was apparently very good friends with Jeffrey Epstein. And all of this stuff coming out about him, and he's just had to resign. It's so rotten. I mean, he was a life peer
Mm-hmm.
in the House of Lords as well, so he stepped down from that. I mean, they're going to have to like strip his peership or whatever they call it away from him.
Mm-hmm.
But him and his husband had been given money by Jeffrey Epstein. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they don't even know how much, but there was one of the payments was £75,000. He sent state secrets or government secret papers that were meant to be confidential from the UK. He sent them to
Mm-hmm.
Epstein. He lobbied different organizations and governments on behalf of Epstein and what Epstein wanted. It is really scandalous. It's probably one of the biggest political scandals to break in the UK for a long time.
And it comes at a time when Starmer is not particularly popular.
No.
Starmer's approval ratings are not very good, and this doesn't help him at all. Some people are speculating that it could be the thing that finishes his premiership or his leadership of the Labour Party, which I don't know. I mean, it could, I suppose. I'm not sure. It depends really how he plays it, but it doesn't look good that he put Peter Mandelson in that position as British ambassador to the US when he probably would have known at that point the ties to Epstein, and Epstein had already been convicted as a sex offender at that point.
Yeah.
So
does this mean that Keir Starmer is implicated, apart from just having poor judgment or doing something that was really ill-advised, by appointing this man and also keeping him in his inner circle before appointing him?
Mm-hmm.
Does this also implicate him, do you think, in a broader wrongdoing that maybe verges on criminal?
Criminal, I don't know. It depends. It really hinges on how much he knew. He could have known that Mandelson was a piece of shit, that he associated with fucking nefarious, awful people.
Yeah.
That, I think, is probably why he appointed him ambassador to some extent. He knew that Mandelson could be pally with Trump. Whether he knew that that relationship existed or could exist because of the ties to Epstein that both of them allegedly have. I don't know, but yeah, he doesn't come out of this looking particularly good.
Well, it's a no-win situation for Starmer because now he's had to stand up, I think it was today or yesterday, and say, I didn't know that he was still friendly with him and I didn't know what he had done. So that either makes him sound like an idiot or he's lying.
Hadn't done his homework, hadn't done his research.
Or he's lying, and that's going to come out that he did know, because it will come out.
I don't think he would lie. I think he's not that good a politician, which in some ways works in his favor. I think he isn't politically savvy and calculating enough to lie. I think he probably is telling the truth, but yeah, it doesn't really excuse it, because he would have known of the ties that existed to Epstein. He may not have known the detail of that. He may not have known about the payments that Mandelson received, and he almost certainly wouldn't have known that Mandelson was revealing government secrets or top secret government information to Epstein. Because I'm sure if Starmer had known that, there's no way he would have appointed him. But yeah, it doesn't look very good either way.
I mean, there's no coming back, right, for Mandelson, right?
No.
So I think I'm of the mind that not only should there not be any coming back, that he should be held accountable in, like, by law. Like, if he has done things that were illegal,
Yeah, which
let's
he
put
clearly
it,
has.
let's put unethical out of
Well,
the framework for a bit. But
yeah.
if he's done illegal things, he should be held accountable. But we live within these systems, or we don't. They lord over us with these systems that are inequitable, that are like that favor rich, wealthy, privileged people. And so I have a fear that he's going to get a slap on the wrist and be shamed and driven out of public life, but he'll still live a life of immense privilege. And well, that's how I feel.
I have there's a broader context to it, which is, I don't know if we've really even got time to do it justice, but there's this seems to be this thing in society that when these things happen, we treat it as the exception rather as the norm. And I actually think it is the norm. I think the extent of sexual abuse and exploitation of people, particularly young women, particularly underage children, girls, boys, I think is probably a lot more widespread than we want to think, or that we allow ourselves to think, and that we allow ourselves to discuss openly in society. And so when a scandal like this comes to light, we as a society collectively treat it, or try and approach it as an exception. But I think, if anything, the release of these files has just shown us that this sort of abuse is so widespread, and I don't know for sure, but you do have to wonder whether having a huge amount of power and wealth drives you to seek out new ways to get your kicks, and disgustingly, that can involve child prostitution and
There are claims in the Epstein files and these documents, and who knows how much of it is true, because we don't know.
no.
But there are claims of, like, cannibalism and,
Oh, really? I didn't
yeah,
know that.
like really extreme behaviors, or that, Jeffrey Epstein had this like trap door on the island that went out to the ocean, and that they would drop bodies out of it. And like, it sounds ludicrous. There's stuff in it that sounds like it's from a horror movie. But there are millions of pages of these claims. I find it really distressing.
Yeah. And see, I don't understand how something like that can come out and the Attorney General can say, well, we don't anticipate filing any charges.
Well, a lot of those people who are on Trump's cabinet and in government are mentioned in those documents. Like, it is a system, like I said, built to protect and celebrate those people. And it's in, like what's happened with Starmer. He might not be an evil person or a liar, but he is part of a system that protects people like himself. And it's in his best interest to toe the line for his own protection. He's in a position of power. He doesn't want to lose that. He doesn't want to rock the boat too much. I mean, in the US, it's a whole nother level, though. I mean, it's like end times, like, behavior.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a bit wary about that characterization of Starmer. I think even if you, or whoever, somebody who we thought had the strongest moral compass, I think you put them in a position like that, there will be compromises that they just have to take in order to further what they believe is the right political agenda.
Well,
And
saying
I'm
that,
not.
then Jeremy Corbyn said recently, in the last day or two, when I was Labour leader, Peter Mandelson had no position of authority in my government or my cabinet, because we knew what he was like. Like, everyone knew what he was like. We didn't put him. So other leaders, though, like, was it Gordon Brown, promoted him to like life peer? Starmer got him back in the
I think
cabinet.
Mandelson was part of Gordon Brown's cabinet.
Yeah, yeah. And then, like, under Starmer, he got like the British ambassadorship to the, so there are people like Corbyn and he might have faults as well, but
Mm-hmm.
he would say, yeah, we wouldn't champion or hold up a person like Mandelson because we know what he's like. I mean, this stuff wouldn't be secret. Like, like maybe to us as like, you know, outsiders, but to people in these positions of power, they would all know what he was like.
But this is it. Like, everything is a compromise. Like I said earlier, like, if Starmer had to appoint somebody as ambassador to the US and Trump is the president and it's the Trump administration, is he going to think, okay, strategically, I need to pick somebody who maybe could play Trump's game, who, you know, and I'm not saying it excuses or legitimizes his decision, but I think everything involves compromise. And
but
I
would you
wonder,
pick somebody? Would your compromise as an ethical person
no, me personally, no.
involve or anyone, any ethical person? Would it involve picking someone who is known to be a close friend of a convicted sex offender and sex trafficker
Well,
and
I don't know how
pedophile?
much was known to Starmer at the time. So I'm
Well,
not, I'm not defending Starmer, but
they knew that Jeffrey Epstein had been in prison already for
Mhm.
trafficking
Yeah,
children,
yeah.
and they knew that Mandelson had been more than just friendly with him, that he had gone and stayed in his properties after he had been in prison for
Yeah,
like if you could pick out of all the
also
people
so
in
had
your
Prince at the time, Prince Andrew, and so there's that element of normalization, and that doesn't make it okay. But I just think it's very easy for an external person to look back in hindsight and say, well, you know, why this or why not that, and stuff. But and it doesn't excuse it, and it doesn't excuse any of Mandelson's behavior or any of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. But I don't know. I think it's impossible to know what you or I would do in that situation,
but
given the
also, you know, there are emails in there from Sarah, Andrew's ex-wife. What was her last name?
Ferguson.
Directly asking Jeffrey Epstein for money.
Hmm.
Things like, oh, you know, I need to pay my rent, and if I don't give them £20,000 this week, I'm going to be chucked out of my house. Have you got any suggestions of what I can do? So openly asking someone who was a convicted predator and like pedophile for money, tens of thousands of pounds. Like, it is just so like out of the realm of what I would consider anywhere near even like a gray area. Like, it's not even a gray area, you know?
I mean, also, I suppose we have to say that like none of these documents have been sort of verified in the sense that we can't know for sure, like 100%, that Sarah Ferguson sent that email. In all likelihood, she did. But I suppose we do have to put that caveat in. But it just proves even more that power and money just corrupt people. And there was which Scandinavian country was it? Was it the Norwegian princess? I can't remember. Was it Norway? I think it was Norway. And she was allegedly emailing Epstein with sort of sexually provocative stuff about her son, who's now, I think, been charged with something. I don't know. It's just it's very easy, again, to just other it and to make it all about rich people who are different. Because I think pedophilia and sexual abuse exists across all levels of society. But there does seem to be a bit of a trend among people with power and privilege that they just will push things to the extreme.
Well, I'm sure we'll have to catch up on it in a future episode because I'm sure more will come. It'll be interesting. More will come to light. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Mandelson, if anything, and then how it plays out in the US as well. We'll also catch up and discuss if you've learned anything more about Bad Bunny after
Well, I know. I mean, is it objectifying if I say I hope there's a wardrobe malfunction?
Yes, it is. And also, before we leave, I'd just say that Janice, the lead guitarist for the Electric Mayhem from
Is that what the band was called?
The Muppets, was not inspired by a single person, but as a composite character, drawing from several 1970s rock icons, including Mick Jagger, Janis Joplin, Mary from Peter, Paul and Mary, and Joni Mitchell.
Well, folks, you come here for Wikipedia entries to be read out live on air, so thank you for joining us again for that. And do hit subscribe if that's your thing, if that's your kink.
Thanks to everyone for getting us over 100 subscribers on YouTube. Yes. I never thought it would happen.
No, I know. Here we are. Thank you very much. Do hit subscribe again, even if you don't want to actually listen or watch every week. Just hit subscribe because it helps us with our algorithms. Leave us a comment, let us know where we're going wrong, and we'll be back in your feeds this time next week.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
See you.